Hello. I'm going to be reading Bluestar's Prophecy. As y'all know that I'm just like a Warriors fan. I have a bunch of like super editions, so I decided to read some Bluestar's Prophecy just for fun. I was supposed to like read, but I also decided to just like stream it so that sit. I don't know. I just wanted to stream it for fun. So yeah, enjoy. I'm gonna flip to like the very first chapter, the prologue. Because every single Warrior Cats book, they're gonna have a bunch of like prologues, probably to like introduce like the main characters and also like the main plot to like this book. Because whenever I do whenever I do fan fictions or just like comics in general, I'll always have like a prologue just so I can like introduce like the main plot and also the characters and also just like to build up tension. Like I have a prologue in one of my comics I was doing. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna start the prologue now. Bluestar skidded to a halt at the top of the slope, the stench of dogs that hit her throat. Below the ferns shock the ferns shock as dark shapes swarmed through the gully. Fireheart's orange pelt flashed like flame through the greenery. So if y'all are like catching up with like the first main Warrior Cat series, there's one character named Fireheart or Firestar or even just like Firepaw if y'all are like the first book. And currently I'm in the prologue. Fireheart is the main deputy of ThunderClan as every other deputy, they either died or like were exiled. So basically, Fireheart took place as like the deputy. He was keeping a good distance between himself and the pack, but the lead dog was breaking away and closing fast on the ThunderClan deputy. No, not that one. You cannot use him as prey. Fire, fire. Oh wait, not a Firestar. Bluestar flung herself down the slope, gulping air, muscles burning. She wove around the trees, her paws skating on the leafy forest floor. She hurled through a swat of a swath. I don't think it's a swat. S- she hurled through a swath of ferns, running blind as the leaves whipped her face. The gorge was close by. She could hear the river crashing between the sheer gray walls. Would Fire would Fireheart really be able to lure the dog pack over the edge? What if the pack's leader caught him first? She erupted from the bracken and scrambled to a stop in a clearing at the edge of the cliff. Leaves sprayed into the chasm as her paws slipped and slid. Oh, StarClan, no! Fireheart was dangling from the glistening jaws of a huge dog. The ThunderClan deputy struggled, spitting with fury. The dog shook him, its eyes shining with triumph, but its clumsy paws were skittering dangerously close to the edge of the gorge. I will not let you destroy my clan, Bluestar roared. She flung herself at Fireheart's Trementer, slamming headfirst into its flank. The dog dropped Fireheart and spun around in surprise. Bluestar crouched and unsheathed her claws. Blood roared in her ears, but she felt no fear. She had not felt this alive for moons. She lashed out at the dog's muzzle, but her claws raked in empty air. The dog was sliding away from her. The ground beneath its hind legs was crumbling. Shards of stone showered down the steep of the steep face of the gorge as the dog's paws scrambled to get a grip. But its blunt claws were slithering on the leaf strewn forest floor as its hunches dragged in its hind legs backward over the cliff. The pack thundered closer. Bluestar! Fireheart warned. But Bluestar didn't take her eyes from the pack leader. She was locked in. in his panicked gaze as dogs began to crash through the bracken beneath her. I keep on stuttering. I keep on like stuttering words as I like read. It's honestly kind of annoying, but oh, that's fine. We're on page 2. The pack was upon them. Bluestar dug her claws into the soft earth as the air suddenly as the air suddenly soured with fear. The lunging dogs had seen the gorge, and their howls turned into yelps as they skated at its edge. Bluestar held her ground as a desperate yell echoed down the chasm. The first dog had fallen. Its body thumped against the cliff, and there was a moment of quiet before she heard it before it heard it splash into the roaring water below. Bluestar narrowed her eyes, still fixed on the pack leader. You should never have threatened ThunderClan, she hissed. Suddenly the dog stretched its head forward and grasped her foreleg in its jaws. She felt the ground slide beneath her as the dogs dragged her with it over the edge. Wind roared around her, blessing her pelt as she fell. The river swirled and foamed below. She scrambled desperately against the cold, wet air and struggled free of the dog just a moment before she hit the water. The freezing river knocked the breath from her body. Blind, she struggled against the current, fighting her way towards the air, her heart gripped by fear. Goose Feather's prophecy burned in her mind. Water would destroy you. Her thick fur, heavy with water, dragging her down. The river tumbled all around her. She didn't know which way was up. Her lungs screamed for air. Torture scorched through her. She was going to drown there in the foaming waters of the gorge. Don't give up, a meow. Don't give up, a meow sounded clear and familiar through the air of the water. Cart, the father of a kit, was murmuring in her ears. It's like running through the forest. Lay your paws, do the work, raise your chin, let the water carry you up. His voice seemed to lift her, calming her panic, and she found that her paws were returning, returning steadily through the water. Her heart tight with pain, slowly as she strained to her chin, until at last the air whipped her face. Coughing and gagging, she snatched a gulp of air. That's the way, Oakheart whispered in her ear. His voice sounded so gentle, so welcoming. Perhaps she should just let the river sweep her away into the softness of his fur. Bluestar, swim, head for the bank. Oakheart's mew was sharp now. Our kits are waiting. Our kits. The thought of them hit her like a lightning bolt. You can't let them You can't leave them without saying goodbye. Energy surged through Bluestar, and she began to fight once more. A dark shape buffeted her, knocking her underwater again. But she struggled to the surface, spluttering as water filled her mouth and caught in her throat. The rolling body of a dog tumbling past her and was swept downstream. If a dog can't fight this current, how can I? The treetops blurred overhead as the river swirled her along. You can do it, Oakheart urged. Bluestar turned to water, but her exhausted legs felt like Sudan leaves, flailing uselessly. Suddenly, Teeth grasped her scruff. Was Oakheart going to drag her to safety? Bluestar blinked water from her eyes long enough to glimpse orange fur. Fireheart! The ThunderClan deputy had gotten hold of her. Keep your head up, he growled through clenched jaws. Bluestar tried to help him, but her pelt was heavy and her paws were too tired to fight in weight of water. Fireheart's teeth tore at her scruff as the water dragged her down. Then another body brushed hers. One of the dogs, more teeth bit her scruff. Paws clenched at her flanks, heaving her upward. She felt the strong, gentle movement of the cats around her. Was StarClan carrying her to its hunting grounds? Barely conscious as she Barely conscious, she let herself be dragged through the water until pebbles scraped her flank, and she felt solid earth beneath her. Paws and teeth heaved her up the gritty shore and laid her on soft grass. Her chest felt as if it were packed with stones, making each breath a struggle. Her eyes stung too, filled with water to see. Bluestar, she recognized in the mew of Missyfoot. What about Stonefur? Is he here too? We're both here. A strong paw pressed against her flank. Oakheart had been right. Their kits had been waiting for her. Bluestar fought to open her eyes. She could just make out the shape of Stonefur. Her wide shoulders were silhouetted against the green canopy of trees. So much like his father, Missyfoot stood beside him, his suit and pelt clinging to her frame. Bluestar felt breath on her cheek. Is she okay? Came the voice of her daughter. Firestar was leaning in. Bluestar, it's Fireheart. You're all right now. You're safe. Bluestar hardly heard him. She was gazing at her kits. You saved me, she murmured. Shh, don't try to talk, Missyfoot urged. But there's so much to say. Bluestar stretched her muzzle forward. I want to tell you something. I want to ask you to forgive me for sending you away. As she coughed, water bubbled at her lips, but she forced herself to keep going. Oakheart promised me Greypool would be a good mother to you. She was, Stonefur viewed flatly. Bluestar flinched. I owe her so much. She wished she had more breath to explain. Oakheart, too, for mentoring you so well. Why hadn't she found a way to tell them this before? I watched you as you grew up, and I saw how much you had to give to the clan that adopted you. If I had made a different choice, you would have given all your strength to ThunderClan. She shuddered, struggling for air. Forgive me. She stared at the kids, and time seemed to halt as she watched Missyfoot and Stonefur exchange an uncertain glance. Please forgive me. She suffered a lot of pain for her choice. She suffered a lot of pain for her choice. Fireheart pleaded for her. Please forgive her. Stop it. Forgiveness would mean nothing if it had to be dragged between had to be dragged from them. She willed Fireheart to hold his tongue. Missyfoot bent her head and licked Bluestar's cheek. We forgive you, Bluestar. We forgive you, Blue Stonefur echoed. Bluestar closed her eyes as her two kids began to lap at her drenched pelt. It was the first time she had shared tongues with them since the snowy day she had left them with Oakheart. There was no more need to cling on to her last life. Firestar would kindle a new flame and blaze through the forest in her place. ThunderClan was safe. She closed her eyes and gave way to dizzying blackness. So let me explain because this is my first time reading Bluestar's Prophecy, but I knew like the entire like plot to like Bluestar's Prophecy. So let me explain. Oakheart, the deputy at the time in Warrior Cats, or for oh wait, I forgot like what the name of the clan he was serving was. Okay, yeah. So apparently, Oakheart, deputy of RiverClan at the time, he and Blueheart, me and him and Bluestar, who was Bluefur at the time, they had been mates, and apparently they had three kids together. One was Moss Kid, one was Stone Kid, which is now Stonefur, and Misty Kid, who is Missyfoot at the time of when she died, who was also probably deputy. Well, actually, Stonefur was deputy at the time, but in the six books, he actually died. So Missyfoot took over after his death. So, so that made her become made her Misty Star in the other books. So apparently, Bluefur or Bluestar and Oakheart, they had three kids together. However, Bluefur couldn't have them, so she gave them to Oakheart, which meant Missyfoot or Misty Star and Stonefur were raised in RiverClan. Plot twist. But what about but what about Musket? Well, apparently you'll see soon. But apparently Musket dies. So yeah, a lot of spoilers and plots in here. All right, chapter 1. Shouldn't she have opened her eyes by now? Hush, Swift Breeze. She's only a day old. She'll open them when she's ready. Blue Kid felt the rasp of her mother's tongue on her flank and nestled closer to Moonflower's milk-warm belly. Snow Kid opened hers this morning, Swift Breeze reminded her. And my two had theirs open from almost the moment they were born. The she-cat's tail stirred her bedding. Leopard Kid and Patch Kid are natural warriors. A soft purr sounded from a third queen. Oh, Swift Breeze, we all know that no kid can compete with your two. Poppy Dawn gently teased. A small paw poked Blue Kit's side. Snow Kit. Blue Kit meowed with annoyance and snuggled closer to Moonflower. Come on, Blue Kit. Come on, Blue Kit, Snow Kit whispered in her ear. There's so much to look at, and I want to go outside, but Moonflower wouldn't let me until you're ready. She'll open her eyes in her own time, Moonflower sighed. Yes, in my own time, Blue Kit agreed. Waking, Blue Kit could feel the weight of her sister lying on top of her. Moonflower's belly rose and felt rhythmically beside them. Swift Breeze was snoring, and Poppy Dawn wheezed a little, and she breathed as she breathed. Blue Kit heard Leopard Kit and Patch Kit chattering outside. You be the mouse, and I'll be the warrior, Patch Kit was ordering. I was the mouse last time, Leopard Kit retorted. Was not, was. A, sc- a scuffle broke out, punctuated by squeals of defiance. Watch where you're rolling, came the cross mouth of a Tom, silencing them for a moment. Okay, you be the warrior, Patch Kit agreed. I bet you can't catch me, warrior, Blue Kit wrinkled out from under her sister. A moonleaf breeze stirred the bramble walls and drifted through the gaps. The same fresh forest smell her father had carried in on his pelt when he visited. It chased away the stuffy smell of moss and milk and warm, sleeping fur. Excitement made Blue Kit's paws and claws twitch. Going to be a warrior! For the first time, she stretched open her eyes, blinking against the shafts of light that pierced the bramble roof. The nursery was huge. In darkness, the den had felt small and cozy, but now she could see the brambles arching high overhead with tiny patches of blue beyond. Poppy Dawn lay on her side near one wall, a dark red tabby with a long bushy tail. Blue Kit recognized her because she smelled different from Swift Breeze and Moonflower. There was no milk scent on her. She didn't have any kits yet. Swift Breeze in a nest beside her was hardly visible, curling in a tight ball with her nose tucked under her tail. Her tabby and white pelt blotchy against the bracken underneath. The most familiar scent of all came from behind. Wriggling around, Blue Kit gazed at her mother. Dappled, sunshine dappled Moonflower's silver-gray pelt, rippling over the dark stripes that ran along her flank. Her striped face was narrow, and her eyes tapered to gentle points. Do I look like her? Blue Kit looked over her shoulder at her own pelt. It was fluffy, not sleek like Moonflower's. It was dark gray all over, with no stripes. Not yet. Snow Kit, lying stretched on her back was all white except for her gray ear tips. Snow Kit, Blue Kit breathed. What is it? Snow Kit blinked open her eyes. They were blue. Are mine blue? Blue Kit wondered. You've opened your eyes. Snow Kit leaped to her paws, wide awake. Now we can go out of the nursery. Blue Kit spotted a hole in the bramble hole just big enough for two kids to squeeze through. Hatch Kit and Leopard Kit are already outside. Let's surprise them. Poppy Dawn raised her head. Don't go far, she murmured sleepily before tucking her nose back under her tail. Where are Poppy Dawn's kids? Blue Kit whispered. They won't arrive for another two moons, Snow Kit answered. Arrive? Blue Kit tipped her head to one side. Where from? Snow Kit was already heading for the hole. I love that. I love that as children we're like oblivious to the fact on where babies come from. So Blue Kid is gonna have to wait until she gets like the birds and the bees talk. Snow Kid was already heading for the hole, scrambling clumsily over Moonflower. Blue Kid tumbled after, her short legs uncertain as she slid down her mother's back and landed in the soft moss. A nest rustled, and Blue Kit felt a soft paw clamp her tail tip to the ground. Where do you think you are going? Moonflower was awake. Blue Kit turned and blinked at her mother. Outside! Moonflower's eyes glowed, and a loud purr rolled in her throat. You've opened your eyes. She sounded relieved. I decided it was time, Blue Kit replied proudly. There's Swift Breeze. Moonflower turned, waking the tabby and white queen with a satisfied beam. I told you she'd do it when she was ready. Swift Breeze sat up and gave her paw a lick. Of course, I was only thinking of my own kits. They opened their eyes sooner. She swept her paw across her muzzle, smoothing the fur on her nose. Moonflower turned back to her hits. So now you're going out to see the world? Oh wait, I'm like struggling to get open. Oh my gosh. Why not? Blue Kid murmured. Blue Kid mewed. Leopard Kid and Patch Kid are already out there. Leopard Kid and Patch Kid are 5 moons old, Moonflower told her. They're much bigger than you, so they're allowed to play outside. Blue Kid opened her eyes very wide. Is it dangerous? Moonflower shook her head. Not in the camp. Then we can go. Moonflower sighed, then laid down to soothe Blue Kid's fur with her tongue. I suppose you have to leave the nursery sometime. She studied Snow Kit. Straighten your whiskers. Pride lit the queen's yellow gaze. I want you to look perfect when you meet the clan. Snow Kid ran a licked paw over each spray whiskers. Blue Kit looked up at her mother. Are you coming with us? Do you want me to? Blue Kit shook her head. We're going to surprise Patch Kit and Leopard Kit. Your first prey. Moonflower's whiskers twitched. Off you go then. Blue Kit bounced around and sprinted for the gap. Don't get under my cat's paws, Moonflower called after them as Blue Kit barged ahead of her sister and headed through the hole. And stay together. The brambles scraped in Blue Kit's pelt as she wriggled out of the nursery. When she tumbled onto the ground beyond, sunshine stung her eyes. She blinked away the glare, and the camp opened out in front of her like a dream. A vast sandy clearing stretched away to a rock that cast a shadow so long it almost touched her paw tips. Two warriors sat behind the rocks, sharing prey beside a clump of nettles. Behind them lay a fallen tree, its tangled branches folded on the ground like a heap of skinny, hairless legs. Several tail lengths away from the nursery, a wide, low bush spread its branches over the ground. Ferns crowded a corner at the nursery's other side, and beneath them rose a barrier of course, so tall that Blue Cat had to crane her neck to see the top. Excitement thrilled through her. This was her territory. Her paws prickled. Would she ever know her way around? There was no sign of Patch Kit and Leopard Kit. Where have they gone? She called to Snow Kit. Snow Kit was staring around the camp. Don't know, she meowed absently. Look at that plane! She was staring at a head of birds and mice at the side of the corner. It was topped by a flat, fluffy squirrel. The fish kit pile! Blue Kit bounced toward it, her nose twitching. She heard the queens in the nursery talking about prey, and she smelled squirrel on her mother's fur. What would it taste like? Thrusting her nose into the pile, she tried to sink her claws into a small creature with short brown fur and a long thin tail. Watch out! Snowkit's warning came too late. Snowkit's paws puckled as the plump squirrel rolled off the top of the pile and flattened her. Ooh! Purrs of amusement erupted from the two warriors beside the nettle patch. I've never seen Fresh Kill attack the cat before, meowed one of them. Careful, warned the other warrior. All that fluff might choke you. Hot with embarrassment, Blue Care wriggled out from under the squirrel and stared fiercely at the warriors. It just fell on me. She didn't want to be remembered as a kid who was jumped on by a dead squirrel. Too. Oh wait. He too. Blue Cat recognized Patch Cat from his nursery scent as he padded out from behind the nursery. Does your mother know you're outside? Of course. Blue Cat spun around and to see her denman for the first time. Oh, she hadn't expected Patch Cat to be so big. His black and white fur was smooth like a warrior's, and she had to tip her head back to look up at him. She stretched her legs, trying to appear taller. Leopard Kid scampered after her brother, swiping playfully at his tail. Her black coat shone in the sunshine. She stopped and stared in delight when she saw Blue Kid and Snow Kid. You've opened your eyes! Blue Kid licked her chest, trying to smooth down her fluffy fur and wishing her pelt was as slick as theirs. We can show you around, Leopard Kid mewed excitedly. Snow Kid bounced around the older kids. Older Kid, yes, please. Blue Kid flicked her tail crossly. She didn't want to be shown her territory. She wanted to explore it for herself. But Leopard Kid was already trotting toward the wide patch of ferns near the gorse barrier. This is the apprentice's territory, she called over her shoulder. We'll be sleeping there in the moon. Snow Kid raced after her. Are you coming? Patch Kit nudged Blue Kit. Blue Kit was gazing back at the nursery. Won't you miss your old nest? She felt a sudden flicker of anxiety. She liked sleeping next to Moonflower. I can't wait to move into my new den, Patch Kit yelled as she darted toward the apprentice's den. It'll be great to be able to talk without Swift Breeze telling us to be quiet and go to sleep. As Blue Kit hurried after him. The ferns trembled, and a tortoiseshell face poked out beneath the green fronds. Once you start your training, yawned the sleepy-looking apprentice. You'll be glad to get some sleep. Hello, Dapplepaw. Patch Kid skated to a halt outside the den as the tortoiseshell she-cat stretched, half in and half out of the bush. Blue Kid stared at Dapplepaw's pelt, thick and shiny. The muscles on the she-cat's shoulders rippled as she sprang from the ferns and landed beside Patch Kid. Suddenly, Blue Kid's den mate didn't seem as so big after all. We're showing Blue Kid and Snow Kid around the camp, Leopard Kid announced. It's our first time. I feel like that Leopard Kid and Patch Kid shouldn't have like a high pitched voice as like they're like 5 moons old, almost 6 moons. They're like practically gonna be teenagers, so I feel like that I shouldn't be like saying like talking in like a high pitched voice on like Blue Kid or Snow Kid. They should have like a more mature but at the same time still childish voice as they are still kids. Don't forget to show them the dirt place, Dapplepaw joked. Whitepaw was complaining only this morning about cleaning out the nursery. The place has been filled with kits for moons, and there's more on the way. Blue Kid lifted her chin. Snow Kid and I keep our nest clean now, she declared. Dapplepaw's whiskers quivered. I'll tell Whitepaw when she gets back from hunting. I'm sure she'll be delighted to hear it. Is she teasing? Blue Kid narrowed her eyes. Can't wait to go hunting. Hatch Kid dropped into a crouch, his tail waving like a snake. Quick as wind, Dapplepaw pinned it down with her paw. Don't forget to keep your tail still, or the prey will hear you swishing up the leaves. Patch Kid pulled his tail free and straightened it out, flattening it to the ground. Snow Kid stifled a purr. It sticks out like a twig, it sticks out like a twig. She she whispered in Blue Kid's ear. Blue Kid was watching too intently to reply. She studied how Patch Kid had pressed his chest to the ground, how he'd unsheathed his paws and tucked his hind paws right under his body. I'm going to be the best hunter ThunderClan has ever seen, she vowed. Not bad, Dapplepug congratulated Patch Kid, then glanced at Leopard Kid. Let's see your hunting crouch. Leopard Kid instantly dropped and pressed his belly to the ground. Blue Kid longed to try it, and not until she practiced by herself. Come on, let's leave them to it, she whispered to Snow Kid. Snow Kid stared at her in surprise. Leave them? Let's explore by ourselves. Blue Kid saw a chance to slip away unnoticed. They hang out with Blue Kid didn't hear any more. She was already backing away, glancing over her shoulder. She spotted a low spraying bush beside the nursery. Patch Kid and Leopard Kid wouldn't find them there. She spun around and dashed toward the bush, diving under a bench. As she caught her breath, she tasted lots and lots of different scents clinging to leaves. How many cats were there in ThunderClan? Did they really all fit in the camp? The branches shook, and Snow Kid crashed in after her. Hey, you were coming! Blue Kid squeaked in surprise. Moonflower told us to stay together, Snow Kid reminded her. They peeped out to see if Leopard Kid and Patch Kid and Dapplepaw had noticed their escape. The three cats were staring at the nursery, looking puzzled. Dapplepaw shrugged. They must have gone back. Oh wait. They must have gone back to their nest. Never mind. Patch Kid paced around Dapplepaw. Now you can take us to the Sandy Hollow like you promised. Sandy Hollow? What's that? Blue Kid suddenly wished she'd stay with the others. I never promised, Dapplepaw protested. We'll be in trouble if we get caught, Leopard Kid warned. We're not supposed to leave the camp until we're apprentices, remember? Then we won't get caught, Patch Kid mewed. Dapplepaw glanced uncertainly around the clearing. I'll take you to the edge of the ravine, she offered, but that's all. Jealousy burned Blue Kid's pelt as she watched Dapplepaw lead Leopard Kid and Patch Kid toward the gorse barrier and disappeared through a gap at the base. Maybe we can follow them and see where they go. Suddenly, a muzzle nudged her hindquarters and sent her skating out from her hiding place. Her sister tumbled after her, and a gray tabby face peered out at them from under the leaves. Where are you going? This is the warrior's den. Sorry! Snow Kid backed away. Blue Kid faced the warrior. How are we supposed to know? She protested. Do warriors have a special scent or something? The tabby Tom narrowed his eyes. Are you Moonflower's kits? Snow Kid's pelt ruffled, and she looked down at her paws. Blue Kid lifted her chin. She wasn't scared of the grouchy warrior. Yes, I'm Blue Kid, and this is my sister Snow Kid. The tabby slid from under the bush and straightened up. He was even bigger than Dapplepaw. Blue Kid took a step back. I'm Stone Pelt, meowed the gray Tom. Are you looking for Stormtail? Snowkid glanced up eagerly. Is he here? He's out hunting. We weren't looking for him, actually, Blue Kid told the warrior. Even though she would have liked to see her father now that her eyes were open. We were we were hiding from Patch Kit and Leopard Kit. Hide and seek, I suppose, Stone Pelt sighed. No, Blue Kit corrected. They were trying to show they were trying to show us from around the camp, and we wanted to explore it for ourselves. Stone Pelt flicked his tail. A good warrior learns from his clanmates. Well, we thought it would be more fun on our own, Snow Kit blurted out. The warrior's pelt bristled. Well, it's no fun being woken from well-earned rest by a stampede of kits. We're sorry, Snow Kit apologized. We didn't realize. That's what happens when kits are left to wander around by themselves. Stumpelt snorted and turned his gaze toward the fresh kill pile. Now that I'm awake, I might as well eat. With a flick of his tail, the warrior headed across the clearing, leaving the two kits alone. Snow Kid turned on Blue Kid. Did you have to pick the warrior's den to hide in? She mewed clearly. How was I supposed to know? Blue Kid snapped back. We would have known if we'd stayed with Catch Kid. Blue Kid flicked her ears. Now they knew where the apprentice's den was and the warriors. They had wanted to explore the camp, haven't they? She gazed across the clearing, waiting for her eyes to stop being blurry. She hadn't tried to see this far away yet. As a rock at the opposite end of the clearing came into focus, she noticed his scuffed earth around the base. Paw prints led into the shadows and disappeared where a patch of lichen hung at one side. Where'd they lead? Getting that she was cross with Snow Kit, Blue Kit meowed. Follow me! She ran over to the lichen, then reached out and prodded it with her paw. It swung under her touch and then gave way. Her paw sank through the brush and into empty space. Sick! Excited, Blue Kid pushed through and found herself in a quiet cove. Its floor and walls were smooth, and although no was there, and a nest of moss lay at one side. That then she hissed back through the lichen to Snow Kid. It's Pine Star's den, replied a Oh wait, oh, it's Pine Star's den, replied a voice that wasn't her sister's. Blue Kid froze for a moment, then backed curiously out of the cove. Was she in trouble? A pale silver Tom with bright amber eyes was sitting beside Snow Kid. Hello, Blue Kid. Blue Kid tilted her head. Do you know my name? She asked. I was actually kidding, the Tom told her. I'm Feather Whisker, the medicine cat's apprentice. He nodded toward Pine Star's den. You wouldn't go in there unless you've been invited. His mew was soft but grave. I didn't realize it was his den. I was wondering what was with the lichen. Blue Kid looked back down at her paws. Are you going to tell Pine Star? Yes. Blue Kid's heart lurched. It's better than I tell him. It's better that I tell him. He'll smell your scent anyway. Feather Whisker explained. Blue Kid looked up at him anxiously. Would Pine Star say she couldn't be a warrior? Don't worry, Feather Whisker reassured her. He won't be angry. He'll probably admire your curiosity. Can I go and look too then? Snow Kid meowed. Feather Whisker purred. One kid's scent will smell like curiosity, he told. Two kids' scent will smell like nosiness. Snow Kid's tail drooped. I'm sure you'll get. Oh wait. I'm sure you'll get a chance to see inside one day. Feather Whisker promised. Why won't I take you to meet the elders instead? They like meeting the new kids. Again, they were to be shown around. Annoyance prickled in Blue Kit's pelt, but she reminded herself what Stone Pelt had said. A good warrior learns from her clanmates. Feather Whisker led them to the fallen tree and squeezed it under a jutting branch. Blue Cape trotted after, Snowcat at her heels. Grass, ferns, and moss sprouted from each crevice in the tangle of wood, turning the decaying bark green with new leaves freshness. Blue Cape followed Feather Whisker as he wove his way through a maze of twigs until he reached an open space among the tangled branches. A mangy brown Tom was lying with his back to the fallen trunk, while a tortoiseshell she-cat groomed his ears with her tongue. A second Tom, his orange pelt flecked with white, was eating a mouse at the other end of the den. The tortoiseshell looked up at Feather Whisker entering. "Have you brought a mouse, Vile?" She looked hopeful. "Mumblefoot's got another tick. He insists on hunting every day," the orange Tom commented. "He's bound to get ticks. The day I stopped hunting, Weed Whisker, is the day you can sit vigil for me," yelled Mumblefoot. Weed Whisker took another bite of his mouse. "I'll never stop hunting either," he muttered with his mouth full. "There aren't enough apprentices to keep us fed these days. Patchkit and Leopardkit will be starting their training soon," Feather Whisker reminded them, "and we've got another pair on the way to becoming apprentices." He stepped aside, revealing Blue Kit and Snow Kit. Weed Whisker looked up from his mouse. Mumblefoot sat up, pricking his ears. "Kits!" The tortoiseshell she-cat's eyes brightened, and she hurried forward and gave Blue Kit a soggy lick with her cheek. Blue Kit ducked away, rubbing her wet foot with her paw, then and stifled a purr as Snow Kit received the same welcome. "It's their first time out of the nursery," Lark Song Feather Whisker explained. "I caught them trying to make a nest in Pine Star's den." "We would not," Blue Kit started to object. "Don't take any notice of Feather Whisker," Lark Song interrupted. "He teases all the cats. It's one of the privileges of being a medicine cat." "Medicine apprentice," Feather Whisker corrected her. "Huh!" Mumblefoot wrapped his tail over his paws. "Which means you do all of Goosefeather's duties, while that lazy old badger pretends to look for herbs." "Hush!" Luxong looked sternly at her den mate. "Goosefeather does his best," Mumblefoot snorted. "What herb was he supposedly collecting this morning?" asked Feather Whisker. The medicine cat apprentice twitched his ears. "Comfrey. Well, I saw him sunning himself by the owl tree, fast asleep. His snoring was scaring the prey." He flicked his tail toward the morsel that Weed Whisker was enjoying. "It took me an age to find that. Goosefeather has taught me a lot," Feather Whisker said in defense of his mentor. "And there's no herb in the forest he doesn't know how to use." "If he could be bothered to pick them," Mumblefoot muttered. Feather Whisker glanced at Bluekit and Sunkit. "Take no notice," he meowed. "Goosefeather and Mumblefoot have never seen eye to eye." "And you shouldn't be saying such things, Mumblefoot," Luxon scolded. "You know Goosefeather is their kin." "He is?" Bluekit blinked at the tortoiseshell. "He is your mother's litter maid," Larksong explained. She swept Bluekit and Snowkit forward with her tail. "Come and tell us all about ourselves." "My name is Bluekit, and this is my sister Snowkit. Our mother is Moonflower, and our father is Stormtail," Bluekit chirped. "And today is the first time we've been out of the nursery." Weed Whisker licked his lips as he swallowed the last of the mouse. "Welcome to the clan, little ones. I'm sure you'll be up to trouble in no time. Kids can't seem to help themselves." Bluekit pricked her ears. "Have Leopardkit and Patchkit been in trouble?" Like Songbird, "I don't know a kid who hasn't." Relief warmed the Blue Kit's belly. She didn't want to be the only one who got things wrong. "Like having a squirrel fall on my head. Like a squirrel falling on my head." It's about time Pine-Star made those two apprentices, Mumblefoot croaked. They have too much time on their paws. Every time I go to the fresh kill pile, I trip over one of them, kicking up dust with some silly game or other. I'll ask Swift Breeze if I can take them herb gathering in the forest tomorrow, Feather Whisker suggested. That should keep them busy. The kid's eyes grew wide. In the forest? She echoed. Feather Whisker nodded. We won't go far from camp. That must have been where Dapplepot was taking Patch Kit and Leopard Kit. Blue Kit wondered how much more there was beyond the clearing and the dens. Beside her, Snow Kit yawned. You bet you'd better be getting them back to their mother. Like Song advised. Oh, okay. That wasn't Snow Kit talking. That was Larksong. You'd better be getting them back to their mother, Larksong advised. Snow Kit looks like she's going to fall asleep on her paws. Blue Kit turned to see her sister's eyes drooping. She suddenly realized that her own legs ached and her belly was rumbling. But she didn't want to leave. She wanted to learn more. What about Mumblefoot's tick look? What did Mumblefoot's tick look like? Where was Goosefeather now? Come on, Feather Whisker began to usher them out of the den. Anything back in the nursery, Blue Kit objected. You'll learn a lot more once you've rested, Larksong meowed. Come back and see us soon, Weed Whisker called. Blue Kit stumbled as they crossed the clearing. Though her mind was whirling with questions, her pause was clumsy with effect. Oh, frick. I can't read certain words, I'm sorry. She felt relieved when Feather Whisker nudged her into the nursery. What did you see, little one? Moonflower asked as Blue Kit snuggled down beside her mother with Snow Kit. Everything, Blue Kit yawned. Moonflower purred. Not everything, my darling. Blue Kit closed her eyes as her mother went on softly. There's a whole forest for you to explore, and even that is just part of the clan's territories. There are lands beyond Mothermouth, High Stones, and even farther. How far does the west stretch? Snowcat murmured sleepily. Only StarClan knows, Lufa replied. Blue can imagine trees and bracken and nettles and gorse stretching far beyond the camp into an endless sky. My legs aren't long enough to travel that far, she protested. As her vision faded into dreams, she heard her mother's voice continue. They'll grow, my sweet, until one day they'll be strong enough to walk the whole world. Alright, we're done. Okay. I'm gonna end this stream here because I'm not gonna continue onwards to chapter 2 or chapter 3. I will, however, do chapter 2 and 3 next stream.